Watch it.
So this is Massive, the world's largest cruiserweight, and you're watching and listening to Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm out.
As you can tell, Tommy is already laughing. What's up, heels and baby faces? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown City WrestleCast. I'm your host, JC. Joining me this week, of course, is Tommy.
And memory of, hey, yo.
Hey, yo. And, of course, we got Mike.
What's up, guys? I'm Mike, and that was some sad news at the beginning of the week, but we're about to talk about some really awesome stuff that has really made 2022 Electric Boogaloo super awesome.
Yes.
So let's get going.
Needless to say, I think it's safe to say we all had a great spring break, guys.
Yeah.
Not just because of Dynamite. Some other things did happen. Didn't start off the best, obviously, with wrestling news-wise.
Yeah.
But,
Seriously.
we are going to discuss today, after taking a little week off, because, let's face it, this show started pretty much the year before the whole world shut down, right? Maybe a couple years in.
A couple years before.
Years before, yeah. And we, through all this, we actually never got to all go see a wrestling event together since we started the show. We all went to WrestleMania 32 together. We'd all gone to many independent shows together, things like that. But never actually going to a show, all of us together. And with the whole world slowly but surely opening back up, it's nice to get out, go to a wrestling show at the Freeman, and just as a group to see it. So we're going to talk a lot about our experience there, being there for Dynamite, being there for St. Patrick's Day Slam, because it wasn't just Dynamite. This was one of those like pay-per-view type events. And kind of give it behind the scenes on our experience there, and honestly, how very different it was from not just WWE now, but even WWE back then. We'll talk all about that too. So, it was a blast. For those wondering, and might have seen me on social media, yes, I did play in an alumni softball tournament over the weekend. The soreness finally went away this morning.
Look,
yes.
I don't want to get off on a tangent, so I'll keep this quick. I did not play. JC did invite me, and I'm glad I went because if y'all don't know, we graduated together, same year from high school. So I will say the funny thing is, most of these guys I have not seen since we were like 18, 19, ready to take on the world. Most of them I haven't seen for 20 years. So to go from that the last time to see them to this, like every inning walking slower back to the dugout from the field, and then the group chat that night and the next morning talk about all the therapy they have to do and the ice and the pills, that's real humbling as you get older. I'm just gonna, and I didn't even play, so I'm gonna throw that out there. So
no, it was a really good time. Mike and I both graduated class of 1999 from Central Catholic, and that alumni tournament was awesome. It was the first time I'd gotten to play in it since it started. You know, it hadn't gone on in 2 years, and the schedule just never worked out for me. So I'm glad it did. Mike, I'm glad you went out there. A lot of those guys I hadn't seen like over 20 years, and
same.
Saw our old high school football coach there. But why did they put us
by
in
the way, the most fit man at the place?
Yes, he was. And he's class of 72, guys. That's the crazy
seriously.
part. Yeah. Why they put us in their 40 bracket, I firmly blame the class of 96 for this, because they were seniors and we were freshmen, and they were just trying to fuck with us one more time. And, of course, they went to the over 40 bracket and won the whole thing. So I call conspiracy, but it is what it is. So, anyway.
We're coming for you, brother.
Yeah, Jason Longoria, I know you. I know you're the new president of Central Catholic, but, bro, that was messed up. Next year, we better be up there. Cause,
lucky I didn't do a Booker T promo there.
Wow.
That being said, we held our own against those younger dudes, so yeah.
Yeah, y'all did. So.
I still say we had the best defense on the whole bracket, so probably the whole complex.
Probably a Golden Glove first baseman, but we'll move on.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Nothing got by me. All right. Well, let's start off with a bit of wrestling news that has happened since we last had a show, and the obvious one is, of course, something that kicked off the beginning of last week. Very sad news. We had to say goodbye to Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon. This news was one of those wrestling deaths where I feel like you're kind of able to prepare yourself. And I say that because, sometimes they're all of a sudden, like Eddie Guerrero's was all of a sudden, things like that. But this one was, the news had come out that on, not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, he had suffered from 3 heart attacks and was on life support. And, we were, the prayers out there, we kind of wondered, 3 heart, that's a lot. And life support's never a good sign. But to wake up the next morning to a social media post from Kevin Nash to say, Paul's not doing well, they're waiting for his family to get here and they'll take him off life support. And you're just kind of waiting that whole day for the news to drop. It sucks. It really sucks. But it's one of those moments, though, while he was still technically alive, people were able to share all those memories. So maybe he couldn't check his phone and see it on social media, but to know that while he was still breathing, people had a lot of nice things to say about him, both fans and people that knew him in the business as well. But leave it to Hall, with everything he had gone through, even after being taken off life support, still kicked around for another 4 hours before, at least, before he finally passed. And a few minutes after Raw actually went on the air, too. So we addressed this briefly on the Geekcast last week, but I wanted to give you guys the opportunity as well. What are, I guess, some of your favorite memories or moments from Scott Hall / Razor Ramon's career? Mike, we can start with you.
So I first remember him showing up in WCW, not the Scott Hall thing, as the Diamond Stud with DDP. And looking back now, if you see some of his original Scott Hall AWA days, he looks completely different. But for what it's worth, that Razor Ramon look started a little bit with the Diamond Stud. He had gotten the black hair by then. He had dyed it black. He had kind of worn it in that kind of wet, wavy stuff. It wasn't complete, obviously, the full Razor Ramon, Scarface type thing. But, he kind of started looking more like that from what he first did. But Razor, when he showed up as Razor, I remember those vignettes. They were so cool.
So different for the era too, really.
Yeah, and he was obviously a heel for the longest time because it was so natural. But I remember watching the Raw when he put over, now he's talking about putting over. I just thought he got upset back then by the 1-2-3 Kid, who, by the way, I remember watching in what used to be World Class Championship Wrestling, then became Global Championship Wrestling, and he was wrestling as the Lightning Kid against Jerry Lynn. And then he comes as he was just a kid. He didn't become the 1-2-3 Kid until he beat Razor Ramon.
Yeah, because didn't he have a series of names before that, and then he just said, "We're just calling him the Kid tonight as well."
Yeah, I think he would use Lightning Kid and then this kid or that kid.
That was kind of like if a jobber ever got a push in a series of losses, that was it, right? They kept bringing him back.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember after that, Razor was actually trying to get his match back, and Sean, Waltman didn't want to do it. His character didn't want to face him. And Million Dollar Man started making fun of Razor, and basically he turned face by helping out 1-2-3 Kid. But then he went on this amazing face run, despite kind of still being the bad guy character. And I think that's one of the first characters where you really I know he was supposed to be a bad guy, but he's super cool. And even as a face, he's not a Hulk Hogan face. He's kind of
he's
still the Scarface character, just a little more. I think that's one of the first that really kind of blended that I can think of back in the day.
Kept his character, but just reacted.
But it was face, but not a Hulk Hogan goody two shoe type face.
Right.
Right.
Tommy, what do you remember most about Scott Hall's career?
Lots of stuff. It took me a long time to realize it, especially when I first got back into wrestling. But the more you look at wrestling history, I think he has gotten nowhere near enough credit for knowing talent when he saw it. For people who put over, I think I sent you guys a video. So a friend of mine sent it to me. There's a video on YouTube, and it says Scott Hall versus. I think it said some Japanese young boy or some young Japanese talent or something like that, and it's Hiroshi Tanahashi. And I was like, the first thing I said was, when was this, and did I not know what happened? That was the first thing I said when my friend sent it to me. So apparently, Tanahashi told this story. And apparently, Scott Hall said to him, "You're going to be big someday, kid." Like Scott Hall told him that, and that's why he didn't mind putting him over in that match, because he said to him, "You're going to be big someday, kid." And even Tanahashi did a small tribute to him during his entrance for the New Japan Cup, and he said afterwards, he said, "I think Tanahashi's just too humble." He said, "I'm gonna live up to what he told me that day." So I was like, "I think you kind of did already, brother." But it's that, and I love the promo before WrestleMania 10 where he says the bad guy takes all the gold, and I just like how he said it. It's like he had this, just his voice, and I think the ultimate thing I always remember is just like his. Oh no, it's one more thing before that. I love when M, Hall, and Waltman came on Raw, and and the Ascension confronted them.
Oh God, yeah.
But I loved it because Scott Hall, who still was he was not wrestling at all at this point. He did the whole finger thing. He took out his toothpick and flicked it in, I think, Victor's face, and was like ready to fight. I was like, Scott Hall's gonna be Scott Hall until he's absolutely done.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I love that because it was like, no matter what, he's still a showman. He's still out there to give the people a good show, and that's what I'll always remember, because I know it's commonplace now, but I mean, I can't even imagine what a lot of people thought when they first saw Scott walk out on Nitro. I mean,
I still remember that too. Yeah.
There's a shock of it at the time. You just couldn't believe it was going to happen. Yeah.
And you know what? I say this with all seriousness. I think we can attribute most modern shocks like that to Hall and Nash. Whether people want to admit it or not, those two guys were maybe not the first to ever do it that way exactly, but my God, they were the first to get international eyes on them like they did, because that was completely shocking. So it's for every Bullet Club or Elite or name this insert faction name here we have, Hall and Nash did it first.
I mean, the Young Bucks are just straight, like they've never lied about the fact that they rip it out. They're like, yeah, because it was cool. That's why we do too. I know what you mean, but yeah.
That's the reason why I love the Young Bucks, because everyone says, "Oh, they do this." I was like, the difference is with the Young Bucks, they know it, acknowledge it, and then fully admit it whenever you ask them.
JCPS3, Razor's the first heel wrestler getting cheered during WrestleMania 9. Yeah.
Which is not considered a great WrestleMania, but yeah, he was.
It had some good moments, So, yeah.
Probably one of the few highlights from that show. So.
Yeah. I mean, my all-time favorite match is still, though, honestly, it's both the ladder matches with Shawn Michaels. I think I'm more partial to the second one because it's the one Shawn won, and at the time I was a big Shawn Michaels fan too. So, not that I'm not now, but but
I still used to be, but I
still am. But I'm saying I cheered more for Shawn in those, right? But I think the biggest thing he ever did in his life and his career was get clean. He had long-standing issues with drugs and alcohol. I won't name the promotion, nor do I even care to remember them, but there's always that video that promoter was an asshole, booked for a show, showed up drunk, was independent, and the promoter just threw him out there, and he's just left him laid in the ring, had him carried out, and he was just out of it. Like, how are you really going to embarrass this guy when people paid to see him? I get it, but still. And to Diamond Dallas Page, Scott Hall is probably the first of many lives that man has saved in wrestling. And, to see Scott turn his life around with DDP's help, and then to get a copy and actually see the resurrection of Jake the Snake, who I met at the midnight wrestling show we went to after WrestleMania 32, and got to tell him it's great to see him walking around. It's amazing. I actually got him to autograph the DVD, and I got Diamond Dallas Page to autograph it as well when he came into town for Comic-Con. And I had to thank DDP for saving all these men's lives, It's remarkable that that is such a big accomplishment, getting clean like that. no matter what it is that you're dealing with, And it just sucks that he turned his life around. He got clean. He was doing something great wrestling. I mean, he got inducted twice into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Once as Razor Ramon, once as Scott Hall with the NWO. So, and it's amazing. It just sucks that some complication from surgery, like a blood clot that got loose, is ultimately what took his life. But the man lived, and it's
yeah.
I
think it's amazing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I think it's amazing how after all these decades, those freaking ladder matches still hold up. It doesn't matter. It's like those two crafted such two perfect matches. It doesn't matter. It's like those are it don't matter. Yeah. Those are still so damn good.
And it was also back in the day when they were still just using regular Home Depot ladders. They hadn't started kind of making their, the ones that now that you can tell they kind of get special made or produced. These were just the old
Yeah, I think Joe said on the Geekcast they were very careful with that ladder in the first match because that was the only ladder they had. Right. So if it ever broke, there's no way the match was going to end.
I think I remember hearing that story too, and I first heard that story, I fell out laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, no one thought of buying a second ladder."
No, couldn't afford it, budget, So.
And also earlier you mentioned Sean Waltman, and obviously connected to Razor.
Yeah.
And Scott Hall through the 1-2-3 Kid, through the NWO, the Click. Another guy who, not necessarily through DDP, but had troubles kind of after WCW ended. That all that stuff that wound up happening with China. He was on a bunch of stuff. There was, seems to have done the same kind of thing, turned his life around. One of my favorite moments from last WrestleMania, because it was on night 2 when they were like, "Oh, hey, Bayley carried us through the goddamn pandemic. Let's give her something." Mm-hmm. And before the Bella thing, they threw her in the back, and the NWO was supposed to basically kind of them and Hogan make fun of her because they were trying to make fun of Bayley the whole night. But first, Sean Waltman was like, "No, I'm a fan," and he too sweets her. And then after Waltman does it, Razor was like, "Okay." So they were supposed to ignore it, but Hogan did, of course, because F Hogan, but. Hall and Nash, or Hall and Waltman were just yeah, okay. So
and it also fits what they would usually normally do. They're like, okay, you guys are gonna do this to this person. Okay, we'll do that. After Vince walks off, we're totally not gonna do that right now. That's Bayley. I like her.
What are they gonna do? Fire us?
So we're so scared. You guys didn't do what I told you to do. Oh no! It's like we've never ever done that before. In some way, that changed wrestling forever. It's not like we were in a cage match and we just completely destroyed kayfabe as it ever existed.
One of them's just like, "What are you gonna do? Bury Hunter again?" Hey.
Bernsey
look at NXT. So kind of.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Bernsey says that there are bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Guys do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a mantra for life from now on. It's like because honestly, even though he's gone, let's be honest, he lived, thank God, way longer than a lot of people thought he would, and his influence is never going to go away. It's just not, no matter what people say about him.
On top of all he accomplished as a wrestler, whether he completely came up with that on his own or borrowed it from something, whatever. It's just, everyone posted it all weekend. It's just become an iconic quote in the wrestling world, and I'm pretty sure it's going to move, start leaking on beyond that. Yeah. It's such a fitting thing. It's the perfect mantra, like you said, for overcoming, coming back from things.
And to me, it's like, it's not even if he didn't even come up with it, because you can come up with the best line in the world, but if you don't deliver it properly, it doesn't mean anything. And I think it means 100 times more when it came from Scott Hall during his Hall of Fame induction, which back in the mid to late 2000s, would have been questionable. He was still dealing with a lot at that time. And I'm not even criticizing, because I haven't been through that. Number one, and he got clean, and number two, he got clean. So there's I am not judging. What I'm saying is, after that guy got himself clean, got himself fixed up, he delivered one of the most powerful speeches about his life that anyone could. So whether he wrote it or got him someone else, The only way it had half the impact it did is because Scott Hall said it and how he said it. Because the guy was a fantastic talker. No one can ever deny that.
Barnesy, this is interesting. You said Razor was who induced me to the world, Chico. Now, are you trying to say that your mom saw Razor Ramon and suddenly went into labor? What's going on here, bro? You worried about a little? I'm just saying.
I think he meant introduced him to the word Chico.
To the word Chico. Okay, that makes sense. You said induced, and I'm like,
but
weird.
to be fair, that first one, it's Razor. It could also be true.
Yeah. So, I mean, if his first word was Chico, that'd be hilarious. But I'm just throwing that out there. Good shit, Bernsey. Love you. Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Rest in peace, Razor Ramon. The first of the clique to pass.
Yeah,
which is pretty sad. So, but
also, one last thing.
What's that?
Did the Razor Ramon theme song have the right to go that hard?
That was so
the car
great.
wheels and then
it had no right.
Which they reused for Mick Foley years later. When you think about it,
yeah.
It had no right to be as awesome as it was. It really didn't, because it was like so iconic, and it had no right to be that awesome. But it was.
Maybe we should have done a March Madness bracket best theme songs. Damn it. Oh well.
Oh damn.
What's going on next week? Nothing big going on next week.
I actually
figure something out. Maybe in the fall. Who knows?
To be fair, though, I agree with Mike. There's nothing big going on this week. Certainly nothing that when I'll be in the same.
I was going to say nothing we're necessarily looking forward to.
There is, but it's not happening at AT&T Stadium, and that'd be on my 1 minute warning. So I'll just say that. So
okay.
Rest in peace, Scott Hall. Thank you for so many memories. Thank you for fighting. Not just in the ring, but for giving people who are addicts, who are dealing with so many personal demons, hope that yes, there is life after fighting those demons and coming out of it. That there is ways to live on the other side, and you're an inspiration to so many, more than you may have ever realized. And it's good that you have a great career. I think he has a son in wrestling, right? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Cody Hall.
Cody Hall. Yeah.
Was kind of in the club for a while.
Yeah.
He was in New Japan for a while. He was in Noah. But with the pandemic happened, I think he left. I don't know if he's back yet, but I know he's still wrestling somewhere.
Okay. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll see him in WWE and someday, maybe AEW. Who knows? But I remember seeing him wrestle before, and he looks just like his dad. He just is built just like him too. It's amazing. So, all right, let's move on, guys, to where we were last week.
Where were we? Oh,
Joe and Harry Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, right next door to the AT&T Center. For those that don't know, in San Antonio, that's where the Spurs play. But the Freeman's been there a lot longer. For some of us, I have so many memories of going there to see Iguanas games, some of the Dragons games. Mike's college graduation was there. So many of high school graduations take place there. And, of course, the rodeo, being the fairgrounds, whatnot. But what's up?
I'm sorry. This is just real quick. The Iguanas game you mentioned.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of the story of the deal on the back of the ticket, and we all went out to eat after. We're talking about this when we get off the air, but I'm sorry. That just popped into my head when we talk about Iguana games.
There's so many of those special deals they had, right? Yeah. The beauty of it also was that it before the AT&T Center was built, WWE ran out of the Freeman for Raw. SmackDown, I think they would film it separately live. Sunday Night Heat, when it was his own live show. Mike and I went to one of those. And the occasional house show. During the Monday Night Wars, WWE ran out of the Freeman Coliseum. WCW, when it was here twice, ran out of the Alamo Dome. Kind of a prelude to the Illusions Theater, even though it was more, they just used the arena side of it. But the Freeman, it was something special for wrestling. And we saw so many great things happen there from so many different angles that it only seats about 10,000, but God, it is loud. It is exciting.
It's very, very, it's an echoing 10,000.
Yeah. And for those wondering, on TV it looks sold out. Was it really sold out? Yes, it was. I took a video. I haven't posted it yet, but while everyone was singing Judas, I just scrolled around a show. Even if you were behind the hard cam, that was full. It was definitely full.
It was.
Yeah. So what we want to do first, guys, is just talk about what it was like to be at wrestling. I can't talk about the Freeman. Tommy, we'll start with you. You can mention like what it was like for you, and also your wife who joined us as well, Lagaya. What she thought of being there.
Darn it! If she wasn't already getting ready for sleep, getting ready for bed, I'd actually have her come in here real quick.
Yeah.
But no. So it was cool. The very first time I was in the Freeman for wrestling was I keep forgetting. It was Survivor Series 1994. My aunt took me to that. And then I remember when we were there. I was there for NXT takeover show a few years back. Because that was when Seth Rollins jumped the barricade, and we had no idea who just got in the ring, and we thought a fan jumped in. So, but no, it was awesome to be back in that building again. It was nostalgic feeling driving up to it, like, and just being in there and looking around. It was great to be around so many wrestling fans again, like, for a show like that, and loud as hell crowd, dude. That's not I know a lot of people online said it, but yeah, you could really appreciate it if you were in there, man. And that's why I'm grateful Tony Khan said it. He's like, I don't know when, but we'll be back. I was like, that's what I wanted to hear.
Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, it was great to be back. It was, kind of nostalgic, having been to so many shows there. We wound up with really good seats.
Oh yeah. No, I forgot my freaking sign. Okay.
Other than they were the front, so people would walk in front of us and sometimes think that they could stop and like lean over the railing in front of us.
Thank you, ushers, for kicking them out of the way.
They're pretty good about that. But and in fact, for what it's worth, I know we're going to talk about the show in a minute, but I know there's at least one time you can see us if you kind of pause at the right time and you got a clear TV screen.
You get a nice shot of my white Darby Allin shirt. Yes. So, yeah.
And it was just fun, and Tommy knew like 8 people, of course, because it's a wrestling show in Texas, so that goes without saying.
Okay, so
it was probably many more, but
real quick side note about that. So a friend of mine told me one time she was looking for someone who like to work at a bakery, because she works at another HEB. She said, I need you to ask her, I'll see if you know anyone who wants to work at a bakery, because you know everyone in San Antonio. And I was like, I don't know everyone in San Antonio. And then AEW Dynamite happened, and I was proven halfway wrong. And I did know everyone. I just more people said hi to me than I was originally expecting, to the point where I think everyone else was like, well, who's the black guy?
Oh, interesting. Jason PS3, his first time at the Freeman was in '91, Warrior and Slaughter for the WWF Championship in a cage, and seeing The Undertaker year 1.
Nice.
That was at the Freeman? I actually didn't know that.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's insane. Yeah.
I know I'd gone to a few shows before that too. My dad took me one. All I remember is like Hogan wrestled the Genius. So I don't know exactly what year this is.
Wow.
But I don't remember going to the Slaughter Warrior one. I know I saw Undertaker. But it wasn't year 1, so that's pretty sweet.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty rare to see that. Yeah.
Oh, and just real quick, because you're asking about how my wife enjoyed it. She loved it. It felt cool for her to be out of the house that wasn't work related. So and it's been for her since she'd been to a show too. So she loved that. Loved hanging out with you guys again. Me and Mike going back and forth kept her cracking up, and I seriously did joke. So we probably sat her next to Tina, that we can tell them both at the same time who everyone is that they don't know.
Yeah.
So
I was giving her the rundown too, and stuff like that. So yeah.
And I did notice a few times the guy, like when big moves would get hit, she would be like, "Oh!"
Yeah. It makes me laugh because I guess we're so desensitized to it at this point. It's just like, oh yeah, it's a suplex, big deal.
Yeah.
And like she's like, oh no, oh god. And I'm like, huh. When you think about it, this really is a super violent thing we enjoy.
It's like, oh, a Tower of Doom triple suplex, yawn.
Yeah. Thumbtacks. No, I'm just kidding. Jason also mentions there, it was Piper versus Mr. Perfect for the IC title at that event.
Oh damn!
Wow,
that was a stacked event. That's pretty crazy,
bro. That's a good card.
I one thing I missed, and it was pre-pandemic. Like, I hadn't been able to go to many wrestling shows because kids, getting a potty train out of the house. Yeah, so it's hard to get even independent shows. But lo and behold, we parked across the street from the Freeman. And we got further away because the Spurs were going to be playing next door that night. I didn't know what time we were getting out. I didn't know how the Spurs game was going to go. I didn't know how crazy it was going to be. Turns out we got there before the Spurs arena even opened, and we left long after the fans had left and the game was over. But stark contrast is, and we were there for WrestleMania 32. That was an exhausting day. Like, during the main event, I'll be honest with you, I think everyone cheered because the show was over. It was so tiring, and that match was so slow.
Also, it was Roman and Triple H.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
That didn't help anything.
But this event was just magical the whole way through. Like, even after Rampage was over, it's like nobody wanted to leave. I just kept wanting to just take it all in that I was at a wrestling show again. Yeah. But anyway, just walking to the arena, like literally across the street, and all of a sudden, there's Alfred, who's a ref locally. I hadn't seen him in years. He's there with I'm sorry for the life of me. I don't know if you're watching. I can't remember your name, but he refs down in Laredo. Oh wow, Jason fortunately attended my last Raw September 10th, 2001.
Oh shit, you were at that one. God damn.
The day before.
Were we at that one? No,
the day before.
It's the day before 9/11, and it's crazy, yeah.
Because they flew to, or they were supposed to fly to
Corpus. No, Houston.
No, Houston the next morning, right?
They were going to tape SmackDown in Houston, and they ended up having to postpone it and doing it. It was the first live broadcast of any event, and it was in Houston that Friday, yeah.
I forgot about that we were the last show before that happened.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Did we attend that one?
I don't think so, because I remember 9/11 pretty well, and I had like an 8 a.m. math class, so I'm pretty sure I didn't go to a wrestling show.
I remember watching it, and I was...
Yeah, I think we must have watched it.
I was at San Antonio College when it happened, and not thinking much of it at the time, but yeah. But anyway, yeah, just running into people we knew, like, there's Alfred there was a guy Mike and I hadn't seen since high school, and...
looked the same.
Yeah, it looked the same pretty much, right? Seeing some... ran into Tina's cousin Jessica, her husband Sean, his son Cameron. Tina, when she was looking for concessions and merch, ran into Brandon Oliver and Don Juan. Wrestling fans galore. Brandon B Ninja, who's always commenting, he was there too. He came by and sat with us during Rampage, and God, it was great. And yeah, there he is, right on cue. Yeah, good seeing you Wednesday too. Yeah, so we're talking about it now, and it was just great to be there. I have so many memories of seeing.
Definitely was.
The Hell in a Cell, surprise Hell in a Cell on Raw. We were there for that. The debut of Dude Love in San Antonio. We saw a Lions Den match on Sunday Night Heat there at Freeman, and now we saw a St. Patrick's Day Slam. It was awesome.
With its own version of Hell in a Cell, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that cage match was.
Which I gotta say, I like that cage a lot better. It's
the space in between the ring is pretty cool.
There's barely any space, so it's not like you can do anything big outside the ring, but it's enough where you can bring weapons into the match, right?
Yeah.
It's a much easier setup. You can do so much with it. It was pretty awesome. I was just happy that AEW was finally in San Antonio. Like, it finally fucking happened.
Yeah, I think that was like the thing with all of us is like, as long as they're here, we don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for weeks, I was just so hyped about this. It was wrestling we wanted to see, and it was really good.
Now, from a setup standpoint, if you remember going to Raw or SmackDown, you always remember that the only, I guess, Trons you got were like the big Titantron behind the stage. You never really got much of anything else. And the Freeman, for what it's worth, has remodeled a bit. They added a top scoreboard with a little bit of video, but that's hard to see with all the ring setup. But what AEW did was on either side of the stage, that you really couldn't see this on TV, they put like entrance video monitor kind of things. Obviously, everyone sees the one on stage, the two ramps. You see the videos on top of each one. But they had projector screens over the audience to the left and right of it. You don't see those on TV. But like if you're sitting in the stands, you can't see what's going on. You can look at the monitor and see what was there. It was pretty cool. And WWE never did that. You always have to rely on that Titantron and stuff like that. So, but I thought that was a pretty cool setup. They did the dark elevation matches before. Then they do the 2-hour Dynamite. And they let you know from the night, like, after Dynamite's over, stay in your seats. We're going to film Rampage. You're going to get to see Rampage. So they make it a good point to let people know that. Then they do the hour of Rampage, and then that's it, But I think the thing that stood out to me more was that the staff looks like they're having fun. You know,
I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah.
I was going to say, who said? I don't know who said it. Like, someone said Justin Roberts looks like he's having the time of his life now.
I said that.
Yeah.
He's just
Yes.
you said that. And
Yeah.
I was like, yes, he's having so much fun.
You know, in contrast, the last WWE live event that I had been to was SmackDown when it was at AT&T Center. And this was when they were under some policy where there was no wrestling during commercial breaks. And it was just, you know, you're sitting there, no one's really getting the audience going, no one's interacting with the audience. The wrestlers might have made their entrances and they're waiting for a good 5 minutes before they actually start punching each other. You know,
I can't.
thankfully they got rid of that, you know, but,
Yeah.
you know, still the point is like, you know, during the breaks where there's nothing going on, like, you know, maybe a match has just ended, Justin Roberts is talking to the crowd, he's interacting, he's reading signs, a ref's playing rock, paper, scissors with a random fan, you know. They're having fun. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The vibe was just fun. The commercial breaks didn't seem to last a whole long time, and then
Yeah.
the matches were so seamless, you don't even realize. Like, I went back and watched it from the TV feed. I didn't even realize where they went to the picture-in-picture part. You know, the match was
Yeah,
just so seamless.
yeah. That to me, that's the best part. Is like it's like for the live crowd, that doesn't affect what they're watching and they're having fun, and I I love that. I mean, I know it's a small thing, but it's a big thing to me. And like, also, I do want to shout out the Armstrongs, Jack and Charlie, and the Armstrong family, because they do a ton of ring work in Texas as a whole. They have their own ring. If you rent it out, they drive it. To see them working with AEW, I was like, that is the perfect family of people who know what they're doing, will treat the ring and the wrestlers with respect. I'm so happy that they were down there. I saw them and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Biggest surprise for us was, and the match just came out yesterday on YouTube on Dark Elevation, was Masada and was it Aaron Mercer?
Aaron Mercer,
yeah. Masada hadn't seen a ring in a long time, and wow, we were chanting for skewers. Unfortunately, didn't get those, but maybe down the line, right? You know, so.
Look, they're probably saying. The conversation was, hey, Masada, we have good news and bad news. The bad news is no skewers. The good news is you'll be on AEW Dark Elevation. But we cannot trust the bad news enough. You cannot bring skewers. I just brought one. Give it here.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is AEW is really good at long-term story and long-term booking. So I'm not saying, you know, All Out 2024 is not going to be Masada versus Gun Club, but I'm not saying it won't be Masada versus Gun Club.
Oh, there will be blood. I hope so. I hope so. Some unsanctioned match where, you know.
Okay, if Masada is on All Out in 2024, I don't care where it is, Mike. I'm buying you a ticket. You're going because you just.
Hell yes. I'm down.
Look, I'll tell the guy. I said, look, babe. I understand. I can't believe he was right. So I gotta do this for him. I can't believe he was right. But that's I know, babe. I know. I'm sorry, and I swear I'll make it up to you. But I gotta send Mike to All Out. I can't believe he was right about this.
Pretty awesome too. As for St. Patrick's Day Slam, guys, before I go match by match, but what were some of the moments you liked about it? The Dynamite in general, really. What match or matches stood out to you the most, aside from the obvious main event?
I was gonna say, honestly, the opening 6-man tag I thought was a perfect way to start the show.
Yeah,
I mean, it's Adam Cole. Can you go wrong with an Adam Cole match? I don't think you can. I think time has proven. I think he's proven time and time again. Even if it's the opener, the main event, the mid card, if you want the crowd hype, you put Adam Cole in the match. And the fact that it's Red Dragon and Hangman Page and the Jurassic Express, it was a great way to kick the show. It felt like a pay-per-view opener. Mm-hmm. It felt like that was a pay-per-view, and like this was the opening match. You know, like like a lot of guys say, if we can't be last on the card, we'll be first, and that's a great way of being first.
You know, I don't yell as often as some of y'all do at wrestling shows, but I try to get in some good ones or some quality ones, and I did have to yell at Kyle O'Reilly when he was being Kyle O'Reilly, and it was just like, stop being cool, Kyle.
Yeah,
Because he just cracks me up. I'm sorry. Like, he just...
Oh, he's great.
He's
Alan
the
Riley's
best.
hilarious. He is. He's
I
so
mean,
good.
how great was it after the opening montage, the opening intro, the pyro, and then it's all up, and
About the
boom, the whole crowd just getting into it too. It was pretty awesome. So.
Now we just going to talk about Razor Ramon. I mean, come on. How doesn't matter how heel you are, how bad you are. If that theme song is bumping, fam, the crowd will be winning.
I also said that about the main event later.
Yeah. That's it doesn't matter how heel you are, or like you said, that whole arena still said Adam Cole, baby, and it's amazing.
It didn't matter. And see, I kind of had to because on my wedding day, me and a group of people said it, so I kind of have to do it whenever I see Adam Cole now because it's kind of
fair enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I forgot to mention, Tommy, that your favorite wrestler was in part of a Dark Elevation as well. Made a
God, I'm so happy I wasn't front row.
I really wish we'd have gotten front row because I know he would have
No!
attacked you instead.
I have never.
He's like, oh, there's a plant over here. No, I see Tommy. I'm gonna bring this guy in.
Audible.
I sat there thinking, sweet heavenly Jesus, I'm glad I've never been so happy to not have front row.
Tony
Because I
Khan
said-
running down. What are you doing? What are you
Yeah.
doing?
No, I know. I was like on the plan. I leaned over to my wife and said, that would have been me.
Yeah.
And he had seen me in that crowd. He'd have been like, sorry, man. Change of plans.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, son of a bitch.
Breaking news. Lance Archer changes his mind when he sees a black guy in the front row and decides to beat him up instead. Yeah.
But see, I would have loved the conversation like after that, like just me with an ice pack on my neck and Tony Khan walking up. Hello, sir, who I did not meet before he did that. Please don't sue our company. And I'll just be like, don't worry, I'm not. Oh, you're not? No, honestly,
No,
when
just
I bought
book me.
front row,
I want Archer a double or nothing, So
look, when I bought front row, that's my fault. I should have seen that coming. Honestly, sir, it's my fault. By the way, love your work. I'm gonna go home now. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Yeah, Tommy, I just need a segment now on being the elite, where Archer finds a way to get you and beat you up, and then one of them is just like, "Oh my God, they killed Tommy."
Speaking of which, did you see Brandon's comment?
No.
He says, "I wish Tommy was front row for that Lance Archer segment." And he
You
said-
what? You
And
can.
then hold on,
screaming.
hold on. And then he says, "I was screaming, that's not Tommy." So,
Oh, that's so messed up but hilarious.
No, you know what's wrong is I'm sure a lot of people who know us who were in that crowd were all saying, if Tommy had been down there, I'm sure everyone who knows me probably said, oh, Tommy been down there, that would have been Tommy.
yes,
Like,
if you want to term long-term booking, if Tommy had been front row, I'm telling you.
So you know what the worst part about that is? I don't know if you guys know this, but my stepdaughter has a huge crush on Lance. She has the biggest crush on Lance.
That's hilarious.
It's not the bane of my existence, but it's up there. It's almost.
So now it's just he's gonna put you through a table, then turn around, give a little wink, and walk off.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's literally my worst fear of what'll happen to me, and I'll just be like laying up. I'll be laying on a broken table, but like.
No.
Yeah.
Shit.
You dare.
Back to this 6-man was great. I unfortunately didn't get to see a buckshot lariat live, but next time I guess, But it's still, in a way that does kind of protect the finish, right?
Yeah, for real. It really
yeah. Moxley coming out from right underneath us.
Oh,
Jesus.
Dude.
When we saw that match was next, and I was like, okay, immediately I'm standing up like, okay, where's everybody looking? I saw them getting ready. I was like, I'll get my camera ready. And then he happens to walk out, and just when he gets through the crowd, and if you watching it on TV, if you pause it right when it's back enough, you see my big ass with a white shirt, and there's Darby Allin's face right here in front. I got my Darby Allin mask on as well. Tommy, you were standing next to me. Tina was over here recording as well. I was recording. And you can just see us there. Like, there's probably the one time you can see us.
All the way down.
So, yeah.
And then the scream, wow, dang! That was like.
Yeah.
William Regal.
That was an interesting segment at the end. Obviously, we expected Moxley and Danielson to win. They did. Best Friends put up a hell of a fight.
Good fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is going on with that storyline? That's the interesting thing. What do you guys think this is about?
So here's my thought, and I kind of mentioned this the other day. I do think Wheeler Yuta will eventually join up with them because Daniel Bryanson Bryan Danielson's whole thing. I literally tried to say both their names both ways at the same time. His whole thing was like, we need to take these guys like Daniel Garcia, Wheeler Yuta, who are, young and impressive, and teach them the right way to do this business. Which also, I talked about another storyline that connects to another segment that I think is long-term booking it. But back to that. Also, Statlander wasn't with him on Dynamite. They did a little promo where she wiped her makeup off. When she did come down later at Rampage, she looked hot, by the way, but also was a little more darker, like darker colors, a little more darker paint. I think they're trying to. I honestly think that they're going to get best friends back to Chuck and Trent, maybe with Orange, or maybe even Orange and Danhausen kind of being thrown off and just being best friends, a little heel. Which sucks because I bought the shirt, but
but you bought it before they broke up.
I did.
Be a collector's item, right?
But that's kind of where I think it's eventually going to get back to, because Trent, when he came back from the injury, has kind of been not cool with all the new people, with Wheeler and with Danhausen and stuff. So,
B Ninja wanted to correct you. It's Daniel Bryan Danielson, Mike. Just to let you know.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Okay, I'm seeing the comment.
It's like his Hunter Hearst Helmsley name.
Yeah.
I am Daniel Bryan Danielson.
But Mox and Danielson as a tag team is great. The Regal thing is like shake his hand. No, he's gonna slap you in the face. It's like, this is how we do it here.
This Regal, man.
Yeah,
you don't get to see this Regal in NXT.
It's great. I like it. He just does commentary, comes down, slaps someone in the face, stares at him, just walks off.
I do think being slapped by William Regal is a sign that you've made it in life. Like, honestly, that he takes time to slap you across the face. You gotta feel like you're doing something right. Yeah. I mean, I know I would. So
have y'all rewatched the Dynamite since then? Right? Y'all have.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I haven't rewatched it yet.
So one of the first thing JR, one of them asked him, was like, "Do you think you can control these two, Moxley and Dan?" He's like, "No." William Regal.
That's why he's not even ringside. I was like, these guys are going to do what they're going to do. I'm just going to be up here talking about it.
And I was going to say, too, earlier from Best Friends, Chuck Taylor is a national treasure and does not get it credit for, A, how good of a wrestler he really is.
Yes.
Nor for how good at comedy he is, which I know people tend to look more at, but he's also a really damn good wrestler.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Ever since his PWG and Chikara days, dude's great.
Been a fan since he was scaring kids on the indies, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty of this is that on Dynamite, there was one in-ring promo the entire night. But Jesus, we were excited seeing it's like, oh, Jericho Appreciation Society is coming out. We're going to get to sing Judas, And they turned that into a whole... He lets you guys sing Judas. And I thought it was going to be like a whole appreciation thing. Like, this whole gimmick is just going to be like a whole King Booker kind of thing. Like, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then he got the mic. And what is the one way you can assure someone is going to boo you in a world like AEW?
He found it. I was trying to figure out, too. I was like, okay, how heel is he going to be? And then when he said, I'm a sports entertainer, I said... Oh, he wants that nuclear heat. Oh, he don't ever want to be cheered.
And in my mind, I was thinking, as soon as he said, I'm not a pro wrestler, this guy's not a pro wrestler. And as soon as he said, it's like, he's not going to fucking say it. He's not going to say it. And that reaction, it was like, whoa. And then I hadn't heard people boo Jericho like that in a long time.
I was trying to boo the whole time. I couldn't stop laughing at the genius of that.
We were just looking at each other like, wow, this is great. So...
I remember thinking the first thing I thought was, this man is just a evil mastermind of pro wrestling.
Yes.
This is how really even if he stops wrestling one day, which will be a sad day, if he just stays as a manager, as a commentator, he will still have a bigger mind for the business than I think most people will give him credit for. Because in like, what, 8 words, he turned all of San Antonio against.
It's crazy. I mean, it's not the first time we booed Canadians in that arena. I'll just say that.
Not at all. But not at all.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Mike.
I was gonna say, because this is what I figured out afterwards. Long term booking wise, storytelling. Regal, Mox, Danielson are probably going to get a small group. Jericho's got 2.0 and Daniel Garcia under his wing. We're getting pro wrestlers versus sports entertainers. I think that's coming eventually down the road. Also, real quick, B Ninja and Jason PS3 agree with your Statlander, both your statements. She did go base status on Rampage, and probably no more Alien.
Yeah,
but if she keeps up base status, then I'm cool with that either way.
You mentioned 2.0, and he says we're not calling that anymore. Jericho said this in the promo because that is just bad creative, and it's like a double shot. Like, wow, that's so good.
But I love how he says we're using real names in this group. I'm Chris Jericho.
Yes. Wait a minute.
I'm Chris Jericho.
Maybe he legally changed his name. I don't know, but yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Wait, one of the funniest part about that?
What's that?
My wife says to me, I think I want a Jericho Appreciation Society shirt.
Yes.
Because it's shopaew.com.
Hey, that's what I said. I was like, do you want one? I mean, honestly, I will not be mad at you if you want to wear that shirt.
She likes sports entertainment better, I guess. I don't know. The funniest part, and you guys never saw this on TV, is that after Dynamite was over, Jericho, of course, is a part of Rampage, the commentary team. So before they started filming Rampage, they played Judas to introduce him. Everyone sang it again. And before he took his place on the commentary table, he came down to the ring to grab the mic and say, remember, you sing that because I let you sing that. And just to get the heat back on him. It wasn't as loud of people singing Judas, but he just made it a point to stay in character after he just had that promo a couple hours ago and say, you do that because I let you do that, all right? So I'm gonna call this sports entertainment. It's so great, so great. So.
I'm gonna say that man just has a master class of how to keep reinventing himself. Oh, and here's a kind of a small thing, but I do think it's worth mentioning. Merchandise tables are like damn near empty on both sides by the time the show was over. I walked because full disclosure, my wife bought me a jacket. She's awesome. But I remember looking over that way. I went to the restroom at one point, and it was just like, I mean, there was some stuff left.
Yeah.
But it was like a lot of it was gone, and that to me is just awesome. I just love the idea that another wrestling company had to come to San Antonio finally, into the Freeman, and they did so well. Because honestly, I think a lot of things make a difference when promotions come back here. Crowd size, crowd noise, and merchandise sales.
Yeah.
I know Ring of Honor kept coming back here because they knew they were guaranteed to get at least $100 extra out of me because of the DVD and T-shirt table. So that's why. So you're welcome, San Antonio, because they knew whatever they said. Well, we're going to San Antonio again. That's a guaranteed 100 from that black guy who always shows up. So,
not to mention all the meet and greets he's going to buy. Yeah.
I was just going to say. Yeah.
Who was I telling? I was telling someone on one of the groups I'm in Facebook. I said I have done every meet and greet ROH has ever had except for one, and the only reason I didn't do that one was because I had a wedding that day and had to go to the show late. It has been one of those cases where I had to figure out if I love the person at the wedding who's a friend of mine more than I love wrestling.
Oh, that's a dangerous question to ask yourself.
It was, and let me tell you, the answer was not easy. But he's a good friend. I wanted to support him. I went to the wedding. He can never, ever say, I don't care about him.
Deep down, Tommy won't say it on this podcast, but he regrets doing that. He wishes he would have gone to the meet and greet, and he kicks himself over it many times. That's okay. I said it for you. You didn't say it yourself. Just saying.
You said it so straight-faced, so that's the best stuff.
I mean, you told me off. I wasn't supposed to say that on the air? My bad. I'm so sorry. Anyway. Yeah. That's awkward. Anyway, let's go to the show, I guess. TNT match. Wardlow, they really did keep the MJF Wardlow thing going, so I think that's going to be a storyline through Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I figured they were going to take it off
I did
Scorpio
too.
so soon, and
But I'm still happy. I'm happy that they went that obvious route.
Yeah.
I really am. It's because there is going to be a point where he power bombs him into oblivion, and it's just going to make my heart happy, and it might make Tony Schiavone just say, "Okay, I can quit now because I've seen everything I wanted to see out of pro wrestling."
I'm also glad I didn't have to listen to Dan Lambert live in the arena. I was really afraid. I think he was on a backstage thing, but I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I think they had a little backstage thing where they did commentary and whatnot. So, main event time, guys. I mean, we saw a commercial. They set up the mariachis. Amazing.
If you want to get a pop in San Antonio, there's a few things you can do. Mariachis is at the top of that goddamn list.
Well, here's the thing.
Really is.
If they had set the mics up a little bit better in the arena to where we could hear them singing, I guarantee you everybody in the fucking crowd would have been singing that song. But we just couldn't hear what... We could hear the beat, but we didn't know where they were in the song, so we couldn't really sing along with them. We all would have been singing it at the end, and yeah. God, that's the only... I mean, that's the only complaint I really have on the night. It was really hard to hear that, in the arena itself. When I go back and watch it on TV, they really did tone the crowd noise down. As far as the reaction to the
I've noticed that from AEW, and I was wondering if it was the crowds or the show being the way it was presented on TV. Yeah, and I kind of feel the same way. It seems to be they don't have the correct or the best mic set up for crowd noise all the time.
They're focusing so much on. I mean, I don't know if they think the crowd noise is going to drown out the commentary or the sounds of the ring work and stuff like that, but we were a lot louder than it came across on TV. I will say that for sure.
That's true. Yeah.
Especially during Thunder Rosa's entrance, especially during that whole entire main event, the finish,
I just have to add that one thing in because you kind of mentioned the idea earlier with Jericho. I tweeted this out or messaged this out on Facebook or something. Thunder Rosa got cheered out the building. Britt Baker got booed once Thunder Rosa music ended, and they started. But no matter how much everyone was booing her, when she got onto that stage and did the hands for DMD, every damn person in the arena had to do it, no matter how bad they were booing. I love that.
It was boo, DMD,
boo. And apparently, props to her. Apparently, her gear was inspired by Scott Hall. So
I saw that. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
she had like the white and black.
Yeah, I do think she just Britt Baker's whole career to me is a masterclass of how to improve with time and take any criticism and just really grow from it. Because I feel like no matter what you say about her, you can't say she doesn't learn from it and make it better. It's like saying, "Oh, she's this and that and the other." Okay, but she went back and she fixed it. Like after her first matches in AEW, everyone had this to say about that to say about her. Okay, cool. A year later, you almost couldn't tell that she was that same person that people were ragging on before, because. Okay, so this is kind of a small thing. Can we talk about the match itself, or did you want to say something else? Okay, so this is kind of a small thing, but when she was setting up the chairs for that tower, I love that she kept doing where she would keep periodically hitting Thunder Rosa and that kind of thing. It's a small thing, but for me, I love that because I've seen people do that and they take too long setting the things up and don't worry about the opponent. But I love it that she was every now and then she would hit the chair, she'd punch her or something like that. I thought that was fun, and so and God, props to Britt because our doctor, she sure did take a lot of punishment in that match. Son of a bitch.
This is. I don't know where this compares to their Lights Out match from a year ago. It's up there for sure.
Yeah.
Which was match of the year by some standards too for a lot of people. It was just so great. The cage was so well. I mean, they told such a great story in the ring. And every time it seems these two get together, too, the ref is always making the 3 count on thumbtacks. Got to watch out for those refs. But, Aubrey stood is like, fuck it, I'll do it. And she even showed her arm all scarred up afterwards. But
they got to start getting refs some sleeves or something whenever those two have a refs from now on. It's like, nah, man.
Corkboard arm guards.
Yeah.
Seriously. Might as well.
You mentioned the chairs, that whole setup there. And that wasn't even the finish of the match. Baker going for
And
lockjaw and Thunder Rosa just biting her hand.
And poor Britt, her crash on the chair is just like that looks so uncomfortable, just like ow.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, Thumbtacks are real. I believe it. I've seen it. We've seen many a hardcore match with Thumbtacks are real.
Yeah.
I've bought the Thumbtacks 4 matches before.
Yeah, but I see this comment. In his defense, I know a lot of people have tried to say, "Oh, that can't be real." I'm like, no, dude.
That's real.
Like, I have seen it. I've been there. I have like caught somebody by accident, like go flying to the ram. I'm like, ow, what was that? Oh, that was. Oh, wow, that was painful. So no, it's real. Yeah. Like. Yeah, that's what that's why these matches are supposed to be rare, because that shit hurts.
Yeah. And props again to Britt Baker, but I also mentioned this to the group chat. The next day or the day after, she posted something about, you don't appreciate me, whatever, on 2 hours of sleep, I'm back here, starting my dentist job the next day or whatever. And I was like, that's hardcore, but do you trust a dentist on 2 hours sleep? I'm just saying, Britt, that speaker thing, it can really hurt. Just saying, I respect the shit out of you, but just throwing it out there.
Yeah. The arena pop for Thunder Rosa, it was...
Oh my god.
Very reminiscent of Shawn Michaels at the 97 Rumble being Psycho Sid. That's one of the loudest I've ever heard the Alamo Dome. It wasn't full. So.
I saw it pop up on Twitter or something, and we heard it because we were walking out. But as we left the arena, after the Rampage taping, there was just a continuous Thunder Rosa chant throughout the hallways as we were finally leaving the Coliseum. And I saw some people that had taped it and then sent it to Twitter. I think Thunder Rosa, retweeted it just like, "Oh my God, love you guys so much, thank y'all." Stuff like that.
She's not from here, but we've adopted her. It's her home, and she's been through Hybrid. I've met her a couple times when I've gone for interviews at the Hybrid School of Wrestling too, as well. So
she has a taco blog, dude. She's San Antonio. Okay?
Yes, she got freaking down. I haven't seen the episode, but Dan Housen's on that taco blog. I want to see how he handled the tacos in San Antonio.
It's so crazy to have known her from when she had the small little merchandise stand at BOW shows or everything, or these small little indie shows, and then then Mission Pro happens, and then she's she runs Mission Pro. She's always and she barely has time to be at her merchandise stand because she's too busy running the show. Which props and again, that's not a knock. That's progress. I'm proud of her, because that's awesome to go from indie wrestler to running your own indie promotion, which is a pretty highly regarded one at this point, because Mission Pro is almost I'll say it's worldwide. A lot of people watch it, and they're very invested in it. And to see her go from that to that, and now to absolute world champion, it's people say, well, this title isn't really a world belt or whatever. No, this was a world belt. This was a world title. She won it on a major promotion, on live TV, in a brutal match. And that's awesome for her. It's so cool to see it. And I can tell you, as a fan of hers who's watched her for years, those tears were 100% real.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling's predetermined and blah blah blah. Whatever. I don't care. The fact that she knows that she's good enough to carry the company with the women's title, those tears are real. I remember she did her first MMA match. The very next day, Ring of Honor sent some wrestlers down to San Antonio to do a meet and greet at the Wrestle Shop in it wasn't Rolling Oaks, not Rolling Oaks. It wasn't
Wonderland Mall Americas.
Wonderland Mall Americas at the time, and we were out there. Someone called her, and to see how she was doing, and she asked because a friend of mine has her number. I said, just call, see how she was doing, put her on speaker, and she's like, well, where are you guys at? And we told her, and she says, oh, you know what? I'll be there in a minute. And she just showed up and just said, hey guys, thank you for supporting me. Even if you couldn't make it, I appreciate all the support, all the encouragement, everything. And it's like, I'm sorry, if I was just in an MMA fight not 24 hours ago, I'm sending you a thank you the next day. And by that I mean 2 days from when the fight was, because my body's still in pain. She got up and just to come by and say thank you to fans. And to me, that's just one of those awesome things about her that proves she's earned this. I don't like saying deserve all the time, because that makes it feel makes people think that, oh, she just deserves it, she didn't do it. But no, she earned it. She earned that win.
Yeah, she that's why we all love her so much here, right?
Yeah.
Jason mentioned, remember, the WWE wanted her to be a referee. She knows her work.
I remember that.
I didn't know that, actually.
I remember that, yeah.
Oh.
It was her and somebody else.
Okay.
Somebody else with her was supposed to be they were supposed to be a referee. Which, again, I'm not knocking refs because, that's not an easy job at all. But for some people, that's just not the role they want to play in wrestling, and that's fine. And some people want to be refs. Fantastic. We need refs.
Yeah.
Alex Modosos. Anyway, who could probably wrestle better but Alex could probably wrestle better than a lot of people. So he can take better bumps.
Now, the thing that has stood out to me the most about this entire night is how much of a fan Tony Khan really is of wrestling.
Yes.
Didn't appear on TV, but in those between matches, I mean, the show went off the air when Dustin had come down, and they walked up the ramp celebrating. Dustin gave her kind of like a last hand raise. They went to the back. Tony Khan drags her back out there to give her basically another curtain call, and he's just so excited for her.
Yeah.
And he's such a fan. You can just hear his excitement when he talks to the crowd, letting them know what's going on. They're getting the crew did a great job getting the ring cleaned up and ready for Rampage and stuff. But Tony Khan, he's such a fan.
Too. They were fast as hell.
Oh yeah. I mean, from the time it got out the air to they started the Rampage taping, it took 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's including changing all the drapery on the ring guard, the turnbuckles. I was like, dude, this is a well-oiled machine here.
Took an air blower to get all the confetti out from the ring area. Yeah. They had a couple canvas. They had pretty much layered some canvases to make sure the thumbtacks didn't go through to the next canvas. All that cleanup, they did such a great job. It was really well done.
Yeah, fantastic.
But the Rampage taping, I mean, it pretty much came across as you saw it on TV. A few promos that they did show. They're really setting up a little bit on Dynamite as well about this whole Keith Lee versus the Acclaimed. I forget which member of the Acclaimed you wrestled, but
not Max.
No, it was Baxcaster.
It was Baxcaster, right?
Baxcaster,
yeah.
Okay.
Which, by the way, great job on the rap of insulting Ted Cruz as far as him leaving Cancun during a snowstorm.
They started in Texas, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know you maybe were trying to come across as a heel, but if you're insulting Ted Cruz in San Antonio, you're probably getting cheered.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I meant to tweet at him, dude. That did not have that reaction that you thought it was going to. And this is San Antonio. We do not like him here.
No.
Yes, tell us more.
Yeah, what else you got to say about him?
In Dallas, you maybe would have been booed. In San Antonio, no, dude, we do not like him here.
No. Yeah, he might be a face for life for that. He's not on Sheamus level. He's not on Sheamus level, and I say that because in San Antonio, Sheamus will always be a face because he put Mark Cuban through a table.
No, he didn't do it in San Antonio. He did it in Dallas.
He did it in Dallas, but the point is he'll be a face in San Antonio because he put Mark Cuban through a table. Yeah, exactly. So, Jason also shout out to Fuego del Sol for taking big bumps. Dude, did he ever? Jesus Christ, poor guy.
To his credit, though, he got in some offense on the House of Black, which is more than most people can say.
He did. So House of Black was great.
Patriots is so cool to see live. I just want to point that out. I love it on TV, but seeing it live, how they do it, is actually super cool to me.
Seeing how quickly people get their flashlights on their phone too, and the lights went out as well. It's great.
So fast.
Keith Lee got a win, keeping that going. After that went off the air, though, he did address the crowd. And one thing he called out, which I think was pretty awesome, is like, a lot of you here have seen me wrestle when I was nothing or had nothing, come from nothing. And you don't get that very often where wrestlers who have made it big or at least gotten big contracts will address the crowds that they worked in on the independents and came up in. Mm-hmm. WWE doesn't let him do it, but they give him the mic time to do that was pretty awesome. Yeah. I thought
Plus, Tommy wanted to yell something at him, but, he wouldn't let him. He wanted to chant something at Keith Lee. But
I wasn't close enough. If I was closer, I would have yelled it. Okay, look. I'll say this. If I'd have gotten to chant at Keith what y'all were telling me to chant.
Well, we always used to chant.
I would have sat front row. Even if that meant I got attacked by Lance later. It's like, okay, Lance, let me do this real quick. Africa! Okay. Oh, God, no!
Just a nice little running joke.
Him and Keith become a new team just for that now.
Yeah.
He wouldn't stop Lance from assaulting me. He'd help him.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of a Keith Lee Swerve tag team.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for people who didn't see it, because obviously it was off the air, you said after you addressed them. So he gets out, and Keith Lee's selling his injuries. He might have actually kind of got hurt from the bumps.
Yeah.
And Swerve's like, hold on. He's like, no. He like jumps on Keith Lee's back to piggyback
up the ramp. Yes.
He's like, no, I'm hurt. He's like, no, I'm hurt. No, do it. That was hilarious. It's also like Swerve's having more fun now too. Like all of a sudden, it's like, imagine how much more fun people are having now.
The only people we didn't see in any of the tapings the whole night were CM Punk and Hook. But then before we left, Tony Khan got in and just said he just wanted to come say hi, introduce Hook. He just waved and went back to the ramp. So
okay,
but
how over are you when you didn't wrestle, you weren't going to wrestle, you didn't have to wrestle, all you did was your theme song played, you walked out, waved at the crowd once, and left, and still got cheered out of the building?
Yeah.
What the hell, bro?
I don't know what's good. Like Hook is just a weird thing to me.
Uh-huh.
Like he's so over, and he's good in his matches. They're kind of squashes because they're usually against jobbers. It's just a crazy thing, but
one of those things are building up. Yeah, and of course CM Punk was out filming, starting to film his roles for season 2 of Heels, which just started filming on Stars. So I'm excited.
He'll be in Austin tomorrow.
It means we're getting more Ricky Rabies, baby, on Heels, which is great. So I think it's such a great gimmick, by the way. So even if it is just on a TV show, I think it's freaking hilarious. So. But yeah, Punk will be in Austin. I don't know what his involvement's going to be going forward with the whole Wardlow MJF thing, or if he's going to be moving on to something else too. But yeah, overall, this was a great night of wrestling, and getting to go back and watch how it came across on TV. Which, by the way, if you didn't see it on TV, if you didn't get your DVR set, if you have the TNT app, I believe starting tomorrow, you can go back, sign in with your cable provider, and you can watch last week's Dynamite, St. Patrick's Day Slam, so you can see it. Rampage might also, the TBS app, although Rampage should be on TNT. And then, of course, Dark Elevation, what we got to see, you'll find that on the AEW YouTube. Those matches just debuted yesterday on the YouTube channel. So, final thing, of course, as Tommy mentioned from the top, Tori. I saw that. Where's Torre? That B Ninja put. Tony Khan said, I don't know when, but we'll be back. And I'm proud of it. I said it on this show. I'm proud of San Antonio. Because I said, hey, all they got to do is come here once. And San Antonio, you do you. We show them what they've been missing and why they need to come back. Like, there's a reason wrestling companies continue to come back to this town. And Tommy mentioned it's the crowd, the merch. We're always there. We're loud. We're crazy. We love wrestling here, And this is just another reason why AEW realized they've been missing out. I think he came to Austin a few times, Dallas area. You've been missing out here, and I really, really look forward to seeing when they come back next time.
Now, next for me is New Japan.
Next.
All right, I've gotten everyone else here. Now I need to work on getting New Japan here.
We need Impact to come back here more consistently, though.
You need to come back for sure. I got tweet Scott D'Amore. Hey, Scott, come to San Antonio.
Yep.
Yes.
Matter of fact,
you definitely need to inspire them to come back here more often.
You know what? Screw it. I'm doing it right now.
All right, you do that. In the meantime, while Tommy's sending that text, we're gonna move on. Well, I should say this. Any final thoughts on last Wednesday night in the Freeman, guys?
It was super fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a blast.
I just remember having a ton of fun. I mean,
lost my voice for a day or two after.
Thank God it was spring break. You didn't have to teach the next day, So, yeah. So
I wasn't going to teach the next day.
I hope it's a spring break tradition or some sort of tradition,
that'd be cool.
It was just loads of fun. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to our 1 minute warning segment here. Mike, did you have something for us this week?
No, the show was fun. It was a good week of stuff, Wrestling Beyond. I think I'm good for this week.
All right. What about you, Tommy?
Got a couple things. So, yeah,
all right.
I'm ready.
Whenever you're ready, set, and go.
Okay, so first off, the New Japan Cup is still going on. Apparently, I haven't watched it yet, but Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay apparently had a match of the year contender, which is not surprising considering it's those two. So I need to go back and watch it and confirm. I'm not saying that it wasn't because I know it's those two. Probably was. Their promos ahead of time were fantastic. And also, a side note, Will Ospreay called out Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley has responded. They will be meeting at Windy City Riot. I cannot wait. Okay, but the big thing is, shouts out to the notorious 187 Homicide, the new NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. I don't care. People think I am a Homicide mark for life, as evidenced by the fact that I've taken like 18 pictures with him, and had them sign like, I don't know how much crap of mine that he signed. But yeah, so happy for him. I think you know what he was. The funny part was he was at a show that I took my dad to in Dallas. My dad it was actually right before lockdown. The whole lockdown happened for the pandemic. My dad, we went to Dallas for a show. Dad was there with me, and he just had a blast that night. And like, I think Homicide did cheat during the match. My dad was like, "Hey, that's cheating!" And I was like, "Man, I love you, Dad. You have no idea how common this is at this point." But yeah, so yeah, it was a great thing to hear because he still won championships as he should. Him and Samoa Joe are the two godfathers of ROH I have met. The last one I have not met yet is CM Punk. So someday.
And not long after his birthday, happy birthday, Homicide. He had a couple days ago celebrating his birthday too.
Yeah.
So. Well, for my 1 minute warning, I know next week we're going to be talking a bit about an old 2-day event, which I think is going to feature 2 days from now on, called WrestleMania.
Oh, it's like Wrestle Kingdom's in January.
But I want to say the match I really am looking forward to the most that weekend is not one that I'm going to see that night or any night, because it's going to take place at Texas Mania, which is midnight after WrestleMania. Minoru Suzuki versus Barrett Brown. Oh my God. I'm so excited. Not just I know if we were able to go to WrestleMania this year with the kids, I would have found a way to make them stay up to, hey, we're going to go see more wrestling at midnight, because that was so much fun last time we did it. It was such a great show. But to see Minoru Suzuki versus Barrett Brown, please, for the love of God, I don't care how late it is, live stream it. Something. Like, put it out there so I can watch it, fight too. I don't care. I want to see it so bad, and I'm looking forward to that more than anything that weekend. Yeah, and it's not even happening.
I'm actually going to buy my ticket for that tomorrow.
Okay.
Because so I know the promoter. I'm going. You know what? I'll ask him if they're live streaming it or if they're going to like put it up later, because I think he does put his stuff up somewhere, but I can't remember where. But you know what? I'll just message him now and he'll reply to me later. But yeah, so yeah, that match is going to be sick.
I mean, the poster looks great. The promos have been great. That match is going to be so good, and I'm so excited for Barrett Brown. I know this definitely has to be a dream for him to be getting up there. So, pretty awesome, and God, I look forward to it, guys. So, well, that is going to do it for the show this week. Next week, like I said, we're going to preview WrestleMania, both nights, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You know, I know. And maybe call out some of the other events that are going on around there. I know Ring of Honor, which is now technically owned by AEW, will be running a show that Friday night, April 1st, right?
Cards getting stacked, too.
Yes, I think the one that most recently was announced is FTR versus the Briscoes.
Mm-hmm.
Finally
happening.
Finally happening. And I think it is for the ROH Tag Team Championships as well. So.
Yeah.
There's a stacked. There's a lot going on. I'm sure Tommy will find a way to weasel us into an ROH show free one way or another. Even with
I'm not getting in for free. I'm going to pay, I think.
Well, now that Tony Khan owns it, I don't know.
I plan on paying.
I don't know. Maybe Lance Archer could kind of sneak in there, free front rows, and beat your ass or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
No, all the people who I know work there don't work there anymore. So I can't get in for free.
Lance is going to walk in with Tommy over his shoulder, and Tony Khan's like, "What do you?" He's like, "Oh, it's just a bag. It's nothing. Don't worry about it."
No, you know what's going to happen? Or people he'll walk by. Oh, hey, Lance. Hey, Tony. Lance, stop. Yeah, Tony, what's up?
Jason, I'm just seeing your message there. We're part of the top 10.
I know we're in the South, but
Jason put we're part of the top 10 highest attendance, I think. Is that for the Freeman or is that for AEW in general? That's
probably AEW because they don't go to huge arenas or anything.
Yeah.
We might. Considering, yeah, because like Mike said, considering like they have pretty small arenas sometimes, we might be up there. I mean, because that building was pretty maxed out, man.
They had a good number of floor seats too, as well. It wasn't just that, So the chairs are a lot more comfortable. I remember. I'm just really glad that they redid all of them too. So, thank you AEW for coming to San Antonio. Finally, thank you for making the Freeman your home, and I hope you run all your shows out of there because. That, I will stand by it, is the perfect arena in this town for wrestling, boxing, CHL, hockey. I miss the Iguanas so much. I really want them to come back. Especially because we don't have the Rampage anymore. What's your excuse now? Bring back the fucking Iguanas. There's a natural rivalry with the Bucks and Laredo, for crying out loud. But yeah, I really can't wait for AEW to come back, and I look forward to the next time it does. And like I said, we'll talk WrestleMania next week. And see if that tops St. Patrick's Day Slam, because right now it's going to be hard to top, to be honest with you. So, down here we got Tommy.
Thanks, guys.
We got Mike.
Thanks, guys. Be good to each other.
And I'm JC. And as always, heels and baby faces, remember, pro wrestling is real. People
are
fake. And just to clarify, that's top 10 for AEW attendance. So, great job, San Antonio. We'll see you next week.
Adios,